and they start editing it, and it becomes kind of artificial.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
We have Robert Lake here with Bedford Camera, located right there across the street from Walmart, close to 66th and Memorial. Robert helped me get these cameras and lights and so forth. I went to Robert and said, I don't know what I'm doing.
And that is a normal thing, and it is a process. And you have a drive. You came in, and we're a local store that we want people to come in and talk to us.
And I said, Robert, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. And Robert said, this is what you need to buy. He didn't upsell me on things that I didn't need, but he got me what I did need. I've had several other people come in that are professional videographers and have long track record. And they said, yeah, we like Bedford. We like Robert. Robert's a straight shooter and he takes care of people. And what you've gotten here is exactly what you need and not overkill. So Robert, first I want to say thank you for being a man of integrity and helping me the way that I needed to be helped.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Today we have a discussion about arts, music, and creativity, continuing education and personal growth. And Robert's told me that there's a resurgence in film pictures, taking pictures with old school cameras that actually have film, a thing that seemed to be dying out and almost dead, but it's made a resurgence.
Amazing resurgence. Young kids coming in, adults coming in, going, I remember using this camera in high school, and I want to try it and see if it works again. We're seeing people come in and go, hey, can we check and make sure that my old camera works? But the young generation are just tired of just shooting with their cell phone, and they want to have it look different.
Yeah.
And they're shooting with, whether it's a disposable camera or they're getting their old grandfather's or dad's old camera and pulling out and making it look different. And they're learning how to work some of these old technologies, and they're getting a passion for it.
Yeah. I am a guy that enjoys using AI to spawn thought for myself and fill some gaps in a more efficient way. However, I think we can over rely on the digital realm.
Mm-hmm.
My social media director tells me that. She's like, no, you're killing the creativity process. And I think that that's what people are saying. We want to be more creative and we want to have the ability to think about this process and make a piece of art for ourselves.
Absolutely. Yes.
So tell me the difference in digital photography and the old school film.
So I'll start with digital. Now, digital has been changing over many years. So the digital has enhanced photography. We're shooting more pictures now than we've ever done. The whole life of photography. But digital, a lot of people consider it as a two-part. They buy all this great equipment, but then they get it home to their computer or they get it to their phone and they start editing it, and it becomes kind of artificial.
I have a friend of mine that uses Facebook filters or whatever filters there are out there. I don't know about that stuff, and he doesn't look anything like himself.
No, that's to say, I got a lot of people that just over process, and whether it's taking the flaws out or what they perceive as flaws, and
Yeah.
they just keep going.
Yeah. And with that being said, what's the difference in the finished result of digital versus
The film,
the film?
I think that is something first tactile. You're holding a true camera, something that's made specifically for taking pictures, and not just your phone, but the time period of waiting. You get a print that's come out, and it's so unique, and it's nothing like this over sharpened digital expression. It's it's an art.
Take us through how you guys help people back into the film.
Uh, I see these young kids come in and they go, I just want to have something to do, or older people want something to do. My mother, for instance, just retired, and she's been a nurse for 40 something years, and she's like, I want to take some pictures. And she goes, what do I need? What do I want? And it's like, hey, let's find something. Tell me a little about what you want to take a picture of, and whether you're wanting to shoot digital or film. That putting something in your hand, and you're realizing is that, oh, I'm going to get a picture of this, and stopping and freezing that moment. I was told something years ago that photographers are time travelers, because you're capturing that moment, and it's the only way to bring that one moment back. And it evokes the memory, it evokes passion, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, you were telling me that you guys have some training available there at Bedford.
Yes. Yeah, so people come in and they just got this camera in, or just got something unique, and they want to learn more about it. So we have from my store, we do from 1 day basic to 4 week long photography courses, and a lot of specialty courses. And one of the newest ones is doing classes on film again. We have the little 2 hour little intro to film, to understand what you have and what you're buying, whether it's a film camera or a disposable camera, the type of film you buy, and what do you want to do with it afterward? Do you want to just get physical prints? Do you want it digitized? And you also, with any type of film, you get the negatives, and that is a big process to have that negative. You want to reprint or do a big enlargement. It's hard to imagine how much information comes with film. It's like comparing it to a 40 megapixel camera, and most digital cameras aren't that high resolution, but you can do a huge print out of a 35 millimeter film because of the detail it holds.
Okay. So what's the difference in a digitally enhanced, or you said you can get the film on digitized?
Yes, sir.
And what's the difference between taking a picture with a camera and that digitization of, yeah.
Well, for one thing, when we generally start with a negative, we're going to produce what the negative has on it, or not enhancing. Digital, all your digital cameras actually go through a process of kind of manipulating this image. They can adjust sharpness, saturation, contrast. Now, even distortions of the lens, they're trying to fix all that, all in the digital camera. But with film, it's kind of like, oh, I had this filter on there, or I bought this type of film. That's the image you're going to get.
Okay. So kind of more real raw.
It is. It is. And uh, I think of people shooting film is a true raw file. It's what you got, and or there's people out there for digital that talk about the JPEG or raw shooting, and okay, if you're going to do extreme edits, they want to shoot in raw, but film is your JPEG. It's your finished product, or it's your raw. It's right there, ready to go.
Okay. So you guys have only 2 hour courses now. You've planned to fill that out some for these transition back into the film taking?
Well, we're seeing how it goes. We just did our first one last month, and we had about 8 people signed up, and that's a good class.
Yeah, that seems like pretty good reception.
So we're going to do the same thing in next month, and try it again, see if we get enough people. But if we see this drive or the passion, people want to go beyond the basic, we'll probably put a type 2 class in. So, a little more advanced. What can I do with the film? How can I expand? There's these terms we used with film, was like, oh, you can push and pull a negative, and we didn't get into that in a basic class. We talk about truly archiving and taking care of your negatives over the years, and not just, hey, I throw away the negatives. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it seems like my wife and I have some of these envelopes with pictures with the negatives with that.
Mm-hmm.
Still laying around in box after box after box, plastic. Don't know that we're taking care of those right. Can you help me with that?
Absolutely. And most manufacturers, from day one, took your negatives and they sleeved them. They put in these little plastic sleeves, and that kind of keeps the dust, the moisture off on them. But if you're just leaving them in this paper bag, that paper bag can hold moisture over time. So I recommend getting an archival box to take all the negatives out. You could get better sleeves that hold the negatives better. So they make sleeves for whether it's 35 millimeter or your APS film or 120 film, all the different types of film and even slides that hold it, and then you can put it in like a 3-ring binder. And so you can have it together, have it organized, have it neatly set up. So if you ever, hey, there's that one family picture I wish I can go back and find, you have it organized. And, people do the same thing with digital. It's that, hey, I shot these pictures and I want to go back and find it. You don't want to be pulling out your phone and have thousands of pictures scrolling through trying to find that one image. You want to be able to, hey, I want to pull this out. I want to print that. I want to see that again.
There's a difference in having automated systems, which are highly efficient, and using old school products that help you be more creative and help your critical thinking.
Yes, absolutely.
And what you're saying is people are attaching themselves back to some older systems because they want to be creative and have critical thinking
Yes.
opportunities. It's not always good to go fast.
True, true.
You said your mom retired
Mhm.
and she's needed something to do.
Yes, absolutely.
I found myself there a year ago, and that's why we're doing this. I had retired from the construction industry, and that wasn't healthy for me. Wasn't healthy for those people around me either, because I was so driven for 30 plus years of getting into business, running the business, multiplying the business, social interaction because of that. And then I had a hard stop. Very unhealthy for me, traumatic for me. I was like, what do I do now?
Right, absolutely.
And people can find a good hobby or maybe even a second career through critical
Absolutely.
thinking and creativity, taking pictures or videos. And you
Absolutely.
guys can help them do that.
Hmm. From whether you're just coming in and looking for information and a stepping stone. Maybe you already inherited the equipment you need, but we want to help you with that passion and get you down that journey.
Yeah. You certainly have done that for us.
Thank you.
Look around the studio and I see a lot of things that you guys have equipped us with when I knew nothing. Um, Take us through the journey, because I could with mine, and I already have a little bit, but a typical person that comes to you, is there a typical person that comes to you, or do you meet people where they are?
There's not a typical person. I mean, everyone is different. They all have their own story, and that is part of everyone's journey is their own story, or whether inherited or looking for something new, or something happened in their life that changed. Oh, first grandbaby, first baby. My kids are older and they want to do some sport pictures. My mom retiring. Everyone has that journey, and so when they come in and we want to greet them, and we all have our own journeys, and so we have some great staff that that's why we hired them, because they're wanting to talk about it and wanting to experience with you, and you know uh, you know develop your passion with you. So
Give me an example of somebody else that you've helped, like you helped your mom and you helped me get to the point of critical thinking and creativity.
mhm.
Somebody comes in and they're like, I really don't know what I'm doing.
And then that happens every day. So just yesterday we had a guest come in, and he goes, "Okay, hey, I got this disposable camera. Remember the disposable cameras?" And we're seeing so many of
I
those.
used a lot of those underwater.
Hmm. Really good, because they're cameras can break underwater real easily, and
Yeah.
it's so expensive for housing, and so this guest came in, and a really nice guy, but he was like, "Okay, what do I do now?" And okay, we know a process. You found this camera, you bought it someplace else. Oh, well, let's
You helped
just
them anyway.
yeah,
You
it's
didn't turn
fine.
them out the door and say,
No.
go on.
And so it's like, let's start from the very beginning. Well, you shot the pictures. You got a roll of film. Let's tell you what we can do. We can give you first a good set of prints, so you have that. Hey, this is what I shot. We can digitize them, so you can send the images to your phone. If you are on social media, you can send them to their family, or you have them. But or we do, or can do both. Give you a place to start. He said, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Hey, we do this. We process all this in house. It's there's a lot of different older stuff that we can't do, but there's quite a few things we still do in store, and and one of the big things I tell people is like, we also give you your negatives back, and the guy goes, "What's a negative?" Okay, hey, wait, we have a starting point. What's next? Well, this film shoots this material, and there's a roll of film in here, and once it's shot, we process, and it becomes a negative. And hey, if you ever want to reprint that, you from this type of film, you can do a big enlargement. If it's something very important, you can always come back with this negative. And
About how big can you print a cheap throwaway camera or disposable camera?
24 by 36, and I know pretty well it can look really good if it's shot well.
That's huge.
That's a good size poster. But some of the better ones, like would use lower speed film. Lower speed film has less grain, and therefore it looks better blown up and enlarged. Um, but a good shot is a good shot, and it's amazing what you can get out of it. And it's that art form. It speaks to them. It speaks to the artist, the photographer. When I'm trying to sell my work, I'm trying to get the emotion of the person that is buying it. But if it's for me, it's all about what I like.
Right.
And so this guy is like, blown away, and I'm like, hey, you want to take a step farther, he only had a disposable, so we went through and it's like, okay, here's some film cameras if you want to get into film that and then these are all the different types of film, and we have this nice book that my staff still loves shooting film too, and it has this in this book all these different types of film that they went out and shot, and it has pictures like, oh, see this one has this warmer tone to it. Here's some black and white images, and this see the detail you get. Well, your phone can't get this kind of detail and this kind of black and white.
That's cool. So you have actually a book that's been taken by different film, different settings, different artists, photographers, and we can go into Bedford and see
Yes,
the
sir.
difference. And you guys can help us buy the right camera, and you can help us understand what we don't know. And potentially, since you've been doing this, how long?
Uh,
Taking pictures or
uh, I,
photography?
now I've been working at Bedford's now for almost 2 decades, but I was the kid in school that always grabbed a camera eye. So I'd say 35 years.
That you've been around photography and you've transitioned over to the digital realm as well?
Yes, sir.
Have you picked back up the film?
I did for a while. I had a wonderful old film camera and I loved, but I realized I wasn't using it. So I was like, okay, I'll go and try something different again. Working at Bedford's gives me the opportunity. Oh, I want to go back to something, or I want to try something different. So I change often.
Okay, cool. So if I, most people, wherever they are in their journey of learning how to take photography, you might be able to help them learn more than
Hmm.
what they currently do because most people haven't dedicated their life to that.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So people come in and they're like, even people with the photography backgrounds. Technology is changing. Maybe something they've were told but forgotten, or maybe it's something totally new. And technology is always changing. We had this new digital camera that shoots double exposure, and they film. There were certain film cameras back in the day you would able to take one picture and then take another picture, but it literally overlays it on top. Well, I got a new digital camera that does that in camera, and they're like, "Oh, I remember doing that years ago." It's like, "Yeah, you got a new toy, you got something that you create a unique picture, new image for you."
Yeah. Yeah. My wife is real creative, and we've bought a few things from you over the years, and you've been very helpful with that. And she doesn't really like the schooling. She also does drawings and paints and multimedia, I think is what they call it, and all that. And she's not the person that wants to learn through others. She wants to
Sure.
go out and explore for herself.
Mhm.
But she still comes back around and asks for certain
Of
aspects
course.
of it. This is how I need help and such. And I'm glad that you guys were there for our community to do that. And with this creativity uh, of the film, How do you guys do things different than like a normal box store to develop this film after the people take the film or the
Absolutely.
pictures?
Well, years ago, I mean, you go back 10 years and there was a 1 hour developing place on every corner, and it was massive. There was, places in the mall. There was, uh, so many different stores, and there's very few of them now. Now, the places that still do it, there's still a couple in town, but the traditional box stores, most of them don't do it in house anymore. They ship it out. So, for film, it's shipped out, and they might not even get the negatives back to the guests. It's like, oh, here's your digital file. They send it to you. We don't know if your pictures came out. We don't know why. It's just this is what you got, and that kind of brings us back this mom and pop shop. Or hey, we understand what maybe caused these images maybe not to come out, or that's what happened.
You guys saved us on that. Once we went on a cruise somewhere, and you guys were able to save a lot of the pictures that had been somewhat damaged or lost, and you guys were able to bring them back for
Hmm.
us. We were really appreciate that. Um, Walmart, do they still do film development that you know?
You can take stuff to them, but that's one of the companies that just send it out. They don't process it in house. They don't give the negatives back. Uh, but it's fast. It's efficient. We're processing film, and not the 1 hour anymore, but we're doing recommending 2 to 3 days. Just so we're staying up on our chemicals and making the machines good, as much as possible for all that. So, but hey, we get it ready. Email you and let you know your images are ready or your negatives are ready to pick up.
So we're about ready to conclude this. What should be a takeaway for people about being creative and the opportunity that this new film resurgence gives to us?
You know, people are getting rid of this equipment left and right. There's some great equipment out there. But even if you just want to dabble, those disposable cameras are real fun. They make the underwater ones that go underwater. They make the ones that are made for sports. Just try it out. It's incredible. It's like, and the see the prints. With cell phones these days, that became everyone's brag book of you're pulling out your cell phone to show pictures. But with film, you drop it off. You have to wait a couple days. You come back and see your prints, and it's something so unique to have that physical image again. And I think that's where anybody who goes, hey, I want to get into this art form of film again. Hey, get your prints. Let's show you what you've done.
I haven't looked for a while because that's in my wife's department as far as buying cameras or whatever. Where can you buy these disposable cameras?
We are out. I think I have like two left. We are selling them as fast as we can get them, but a lot of the box stores are stocking them now. They've noticed that hey, there's people asking for it. There's people out there shooting again, and so I think Walgreens, Walmart, and all of them have it now.
They can go buy their film or their cameras wherever they want.
Hmm. And we're going to take care of them.
You're going to take care of them from start to finish, or you're going to take care of me start to finish as far as I'm concerned, because I'm into relational business. Hopefully our community is into relational business. You guys have any needs, any inquiries about this sort of thing? Robert's a great guy. Glad to have you on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Good to have you. Hmm.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?